Hey guys, it's Deadeye. Not so long ago I made a video on this game, Arker, The Legend of Ohm. At the time I didn't know what I was doing, but I've played some more and I think I figured some of it out. As you can see here, I got my rank up to 40, and I will go over later on kind of how the score system works and how you can get yourself boosted up towards the top. Before we get to that, I want to show you some matches and show you the strategy that I've sort of developed over time. A lot of it came from that first episode actually, but for whatever reason it seems to work strikingly well, especially using the Alchemist. Before I was using the Berserker, and I think the Berserker has some qualities that are good about them, but fighting against Alchemist as the Berserker taught me that there's certain aspects to the Alchemist that just can't be beat. We're going to play some games, and I'll explain exactly what those are. Getting into the first game here, I want to remind you about the Berserker's ability. So their ability is to increase the amount of damage they do by 8 in that individual play, but it costs 10 of the energy. Looking at the Alchemist, their ability increases your life by 10, adds 10, and also increases damage by 5. Not as much as 8, but the 10 life is just unmistakably stronger as a move. So what I like to do first here is I like to find one with a decent ability. Unfortunately, none of these are fantastic for what I want to do at the beginning, so I'm just going to go with the 15% probability of critical hit. I'd like to go up to 48. Use the stone and attack. What that's going to do is, when I do end out hitting and they end out hitting, I'm probably going to win this first one. I almost always do. Right, they use 11, so I end up winning, but I also regenerate health. And you might be thinking, well, you have full health, right? Normally that would make sense, but for whatever reason, with this game, you do actually go above the max health limit. So that's something to keep in mind with that first move there. Second move, like to keep it simple. This is the best second move card that I have, and I think that anyone can have for this strategy. You've got healing, another really good one, solid one, definitely to cancel the effect of their move, but with healing on the board, there's just no reason to go with the cancel. We can do cancel later on, might as well, but for now we're going to go with healing. And we are using 0 energy there, meaning any energy they use is going to put them at a further disadvantage energy-wise. We're going to heal for a lot of the damage that they do. And we have a base healing of 2 since we're using the Alchemist, which is another pretty crazy advantage. And you can see the difference between our healths at this point. It's sort of impossible, or feels impossible, for them to really come back. They could always beat me out with energy just slightly every time. I don't find that likely, however, because I'm just going to do this. I'm going to max out. Now, do I use the stone here or not? Here's the thing. I could use the stone and probably win by even more, but I really want to make sure that I win this one. Are they going to use 60? Who knows? But I want to make sure at the highest possibility. Yeah, see, look at that. If I'd used the stone, it would bump me down by 10, putting me at 51. I would lose that. I have to win that one. But now that I've won it, they just don't have any options. I've got 0 energy, nothing I can do left at this point, but it doesn't matter. The difference between our health is so insane that they just can't catch back up. And I've been doing this for probably the last couple hours. The big thing with it is, in the last video I made, I said 48, 0, everything, 0. Just kind of threw it out there. Just a concept. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So I came back to the game, but I was thinking there's just no way, and I pointed it out during that video. There's no way, and let me get to another match here. There's no way that you're going to win 5 matches in a row, because it's sort of like rock, paper, scissors. I mean, certainly, yes, you could win rock, paper, scissors 5 times in a row, but your odds of that, I think, are kind of low. Yeah, you can psych someone out, and definitely, if you look online, you can see matches where people win and win and win and win, I'm sure, or flipping a coin, right, 5 times. It just seemed like it would take so much time. But when I actually got into the game again, I used that same strategy that I came up with the other time, that I was kind of hit or miss at the time, it seemed to me, and I wasn't fully settled in on what I wanted to do. But when I used that again, immediately, 8 in a row. So let's try it again here. We'll see. And of course, I could lose some. I actually did lose one in the last couple hours. 1 match. But I think that was it. No, 2. There was 1 match where I lost, and 1 where I lost 3 in a row. And I could have won the 4th, but I would have lost overall. And I know how hard it is to get 4 in a row. So I went ahead and gave it to them. Because you do get, if you win 4 in a row, you do get a boost in the game, an award. But let's see here. So, enemy skill reduced by 2. Is there something better we could do? Ability damage is better. Because I know I'm going to win this. I don't need to reduce their damage at this point. So, let's go with that. And of course, yes, I could lose this. They could go slightly over me on this one. That would obviously not be a great thing. But for whatever reason, at least in the last couple hours, and this could prove me wrong, for whatever reason, there you go. They never seem to do it. They always go low, or even medium, but they don't go up towards 44. I'm not sure why that is. And see, I only have a 10 times multiplier, but now that card's out of the way. I've won a match with it. They use their cancel out, which, yeah, is going to lower that down, but I already regenerated all that health and really boosted my health, because it's not even regeneration, it's addition, which can push you up over the limit. There are some other things I want to go over with this game, so let's see here. Again, here's something else. In the last video I made, I actually made an error. I said, oh, well, you need to use at least the cost. That's what I was figuring. I mean, you'd assume, right? Use at least the cost of the card in order to use the ability of the card. Sure. Not how it works. The cost of the card determines how many of different card types you can have within your deck, not whether or not the ability goes off. So my ability went off there. I reduced their damage. I think that was 23. Definitely not a very high amount of damage. Now, again, same logic as before. Enemy skill. Well, the multiplier is the bigger thing because I need to win this one, and I can afford to lose the next one. And maybe they'll figure me out here. Let's see. And as I'm waiting for that, there's some things I noticed in the game that I wanted to throw out there just so you have a better idea on how some of the things work, and I think some things that could use some work in the game. So there you go, yet again. They're going to recover a little health here, but it's not going to matter, because they just lost, right? Unfortunately for them. And no, they don't even recover health. That's the other thing. The assumption would be they'd recover health, right? Because, you know, you're using the stone, and you're using so much energy, you'd think you'd recover health. However, you only recover health when you hit, when you do the damage. Otherwise, no health recovered. Which, looking at the Berserker, okay, that makes sense. The Berserker has to hit in order for their damage to be increased when they attack. With a Berserker, that's true, but you would think with a healer, they could heal whether they hit or not, as long as they use up the 10 energy costs. It doesn't work that way. So let's get into the next match here, and I'll keep explaining. So I actually think that that sort of makes sense, to make it so all items work that way. It's just not what you would assume. But yeah, all items seem to work that you have to actually be the one that attacks and does the damage in order for your card to have an impact. Something I think is an error here when it comes to the healing. So I do like the Alchemist much more than any other character. There's only a couple other characters, but I prefer the Alchemist because of that healing effect, and because the damage increase is actually just about as good. It's not that much better to be a Barbarian, which is all about damage, than it is to be an Alchemist, which is less about damage. Alchemists still do almost as much damage, which seems like a balancing issue to me. Let's see, so first what I'm going to do here, I want to make sure, I do want this one to hit, and there's just really nothing as good as this card among those. There are cards that are very good, I just haven't been drawing them. So let's go with our 48, use the stone, and attack. Something I noticed is, if you're using the healing card, which heals you 8 health, which is really solid, and you use, in addition, well, actually, hold on. I'm just realizing it now. I always use the healing card as a 0. So this is really back to what we were talking about before. I always use the healing card with no energy, because I don't see a point in using energy on the healing card. It's a freebie. At first, what I was doing was, I would use the item, the healing item, in addition to it, which costs energy, but I was like, okay, I'll just absolutely bolster my health. But it doesn't work that way, as I've already mentioned. So that's kind of something you're going to want to be careful with, is only use the item if you know you're going to win or you really need to win. Okay, so again, I have this cancel out. So for them, the only thing that makes sense to do right now is to damage, is to max out, right? They can win if they max out here, I believe, but I don't think they're going to. I've come across this situation a few times before where for whatever reason they just don't. They might go high, though, and I could cancel their ability. That's another option. Okay, I'm going to stick with what I always go with, because this is the standard I've set at this point. This is my move, right? And are they going to win? No. So they could have won there with a little bit more energy. They didn't have to go above me because they had the times 16 multiplier. At this point, though, there's just no coming back. As always, they're going to lose. And 27 damage to me, not enough. Still 10 in the lead, and that's pretty close. I mean, 10 in the lead, compared with what I do sometimes in this game, I've definitely gotten a much higher advantage. As we come into the final match of this video, I wanted to throw out one last thing, one thing I noticed, which again, I think is sort of an error. You could call it an error or a game choice or a design. Let's see, the first, so normally I would maybe go with this, but this ability is pretty solid. Increases ability skill by 2, keep it at 48, use the stone. This one, I have the least likelihood of winning. Times 10 is so low. They could use a times 15 and go 30. They might win me there. I'm not totally sure. No, doesn't matter. So, and that's kind of a cheeky win, right? 30 plus I do the, well, I didn't do an additional 5. Maybe, oh, they decreased, so I did an additional 5. They decreased it by 4, putting me at 31 damage rather than at 35 damage. Now, reduce their damage by 4, just like they did to me, with 0 cost. And if they go really hard on it, like use a lot of energy on it this time, they're really going to set themselves back, and they're not going to be able to come back from it. If they go low, then I'm in trouble, right? I might still win. I probably will still win. My health is so high, and Berserkers just don't have the health regen or health boosting that I have. Not that high, but I think I can live with that. So the one other thing that I thought was interesting is, I was in this match against an alchemist. Okay, let's see here. Now I go 62. Do I use a stone? No. Just in case they go 60, you know, whatever. Or 48. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. I win. So, oh, no damage showed up there, but I'm sure I got it. Yeah, I did. Okay. Now I just use 0 energy, and I win. Sorry, I got so caught up in playing there. And winning, of course. So, well, the one last thing that I was trying to talk about and just kept getting distracted on, we're both using Alchemist, right? We both get down to the final match here, right? The final little matchup. And we have 2 different cards, mine with a slightly higher multiplier of 15 and them with a 12. We both have 0 energy. I just used all my energy, they used all their energy, and I'm winning by a decent amount. Not enough to win solidly easily, but by enough that at this point with both of us having 0 energy, you can't come back from here, really. But I was wondering, okay, what happens if I tie? What happens if we get the exact same amount of energy? So normally, that's a big question that I'd have, right? In this case, though, I think the multiplier came in effect, because my multiplier was higher. It multiplied 0, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It should have still been 0. However, my multiplier being higher than theirs made me win the match. So it's a little bit of a weird thing. I don't know if I'd call it a bug exactly, because it did have the higher multiplier, but with both of us having 0s, it can't exactly be considered a multiplier advantage. So just a little bit confusing on that. But let's go ahead and get back to the menu, because I wanted to show you how I'm looking at it now with more experience in the game, having played for a couple hours, to get just some more coins, some more Arker tokens, and to get higher up on the leaderboard. So now, after these couple hours, I've got 7 Arker coins and almost 3,000 gold, which is a pretty big jump. I think I had 700 at the end of the last episode there. So I'm almost to where I can get one of these moon fragments. I'm not sure if they're a great advantage or not. 5 life, 5 energy, active 21 life. Yeah, that might be pretty powerful. I still feel, though, that these cards are really expensive. And, of course, they seem impossible. Market, again. So I don't want to go back over everything again, but my opinion is still largely the same, is what I want to say after more experience with that. When it comes to the prices for things, it just feels a little bit high. Something I wasn't sure of in the last video, something entirely new. 36, right? I just jumped up 4 in the time that I've been playing, only the last few matches. So hasn't taken me too long to get up higher. And maybe you caught a glimpse of what I'm going to start talking about here in a minute. But it's score. So looking at the score, I began, at least the last score that I noticed more recently before the video, I was around 1,500. I think I got up to like maybe the low 1600s, 40, right? So I had to be around in the low to mid 1600s when I started this video, and in a short time, 1780, I jumped up pretty far, which bought me 4 more spaces. You get, usually, and this is what I've noticed, there might be some inaccuracy here, but I have played matches and gotten 10 score when I win them before. I know that much. And so that's not a lot. You know, in order to get to this score, I'll assure you, I did not do 10 at a time. I did not play 178 games. I played, I think, a fair few games, but not nearly that many, I wouldn't say. However, every time you level up, you seem to get a decent amount of score. I can't say precisely how much, but a few hundred potentially, or at least 100 per level up. That would mean, right, if you have more characters, and that's part of why I got a second character, and partially because I fought one of these guys, and wow, are they strong compared to the Berserker, in my opinion. And I can't make a third one, though, because I don't have enough abilities. That's because with those cards from before, you have to actually get the new cards, enough of the new cards, to be able to stock the next character with those cards, and I only have enough for 2 characters and not 3. I haven't bought any new amounts, so you can get 2 without any extra work, but a third one's going to cost you. Cards, not money, and I'm not even sure if you can buy with actual cash. This is what I'm really talking about here. So if you look at it, the scores go up somewhat slowly. I mean, really, looking at 50 to 40, the score increase is about 140. That's 14 games if you don't level up, or, I don't know, a couple games, really, if you do level up. Probably wouldn't take you very long. Getting to where I'm at, again, a few games. Getting to 30, getting to 25, 22, 19 even. This would take you a while, for sure, but you're place 19. All right, fine. Here's where it gets crazy, right? From 10 to 7, moving up as many spaces as I just moved up in a few games, would take you thousands of score. At 10 score a game, plus some extra 100 or so, a few hundred, here and there for leveling up, that would take you a very long time. And looking at, as you go up higher, it's just crazy. Like, look at this. It feels insurmountable. I don't know for sure, and some of you might come in and just really destroy this score, or this person might just keep rising up in score. They're level 29. It probably took them a long time to get there, but they got there. It's definitely doable. But the difference between the number 1 space, the number 2 space, the number 3 space is such big jumps. And looking from 4 to 5 as well is maybe even more surprising, that the first 4 people are just crazy, crazy high. The 5th person is, of course, unbelievably high. I wouldn't want to take anything away from them, but wow, there's a jump. Because you're only really rewarded for winning, at least as far as I can tell, I think if you go with this strategy, I think you'll do pretty well in the game, or something along that line. Maybe you can invent your own strategy a little bit different from what I'm doing, or improve on what I'm doing. But what I've been doing has been working very well for me. I've only lost a couple games in several hours. I won 4 or 5, whatever it was, in a row just now on recording. I didn't miss any there. I was thinking when I was recording this, oh, maybe I'm going to lose 1 or 2 as I go. And it will show some of the downsides of what I'm doing. But I didn't. And you wouldn't expect me to after a couple hours of playing. So I think it's a solid way of playing the game. And I'd love to hear some feedback. How are you guys playing it? Do you enjoy what I'm making here? Do you appreciate the input? Just let me know if you guys want to see any more of this, how you guys are enjoying the game, or if you have any other games you want me to check out. Regardless, if you enjoyed, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.